Ibrahim Traoré, the resolute and proud leader of Burkina Faso, had seen a lot in his life: betrayal, loss, power. But as he stood at the front of the Grand Airport terminal, facing the bustling crowd, he never expected to be treated like a nobody. A casual remark, a slight from the hostess, would soon shift his world in ways no one could have predicted. It all started with one wrong word. "Please, sir, step aside, you're blocking the way." Introduction and setup. It was a morning like any other at the airport. The sun bathed the terminal in a warm, golden light as travelers hurried to catch flights, their hurried footsteps echoing in the polished marble floors. Ibrahim, dressed simply yet impeccably, stood tall among the crowd. His eyes scanned the bustling scene, filled with the faces of strangers, none of them knowing the weight that rested upon his shoulders. The terminal was loud, chaotic even, but Ibrahim's mind was at peace, his country's future now in his hands. Yet, in the midst of this calm, the moment of disdain came. A young hostess, with a smile too wide to feel genuine, approached him. "Excuse me, sir. Can you please step aside? You're blocking the line." There it was, a momentary lapse in judgment. She had no idea who she was speaking to. She didn't know that the man she just dismissed was the very soul of Burkina Faso's revolution, the man who had defied the world's expectations to lead his country to independence and dignity. But in that moment, he was just another man in the way. Nothing special. Conflict or challenge introduced. The words were like a slap across Ibrahim's face, a wound far deeper than the hostess could have ever imagined. His gaze hardened, his jaw tightened, but his body remained still. The pride of a leader who had faced countless threats, both political and physical, suddenly felt too small to confront this unknowing slight. He could have retaliated, shouted at her, or demanded respect, but he didn't. Instead, he smiled, a quiet, controlled smile, and stepped aside, allowing her to pass. What else could he do? After all, he was just a man. But that smile didn't come without cost. In the moments that followed, the smile shifted to a sense of deep sorrow. The disrespect stung more than anything he had faced before. The memories of those who had belittled his country, of those who had underestimated his people, flooded his mind. But there was something else, a feeling he hadn't experienced before, a hunger to teach, to show her the value of humility, the importance of respect. Ibrahim's eyes followed the hostess as she moved away, oblivious to the storm she had just stirred. Midpoint revelation or twist, it wasn't long before the realization struck. Ibrahim watched as the hostess continued her work, serving customers with an air of self-importance, oblivious to the weight she carried with her actions. But then, fate would intervene. Minutes later, a man entered the terminal. He was dressed in a dark suit, his face stern yet oddly familiar. Ibrahim's breath caught in his chest. This was the ambassador from the very country that had been pressuring Burkina Faso for years, trying to dictate their future, to control their resources. The ambassador's eyes locked with Ibrahim's. Recognition passed between them, and just like that, the situation was about to shift. Without a word, the ambassador strode up to the hostess, whose back was turned, her demeanor still too arrogant. He leaned in, spoke in hushed tones. The hostess's face shifted from confidence to shock, and she turned pale. The ambassador's voice was low but cutting. "You just disrespected a man who holds the future of an entire nation in his hands. That is Ibrahim Traoré." Her face drained of color, and the world seemed to freeze. Her actions were now echoing in her own mind. The gravity of the situation hit her all at once. Climax, emotional breakthrough. The hostess, trembling, turned to Ibrahim, her face a mix of shame and regret. I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't know. I didn't recognize you. I was rude. Ibrahim could have crushed her with words, could have shown her the power he held, the might of his country's future. Instead, he stepped forward, placing a hand gently on her shoulder. "It's all right. We all make mistakes. It is not in the actions we take that define us, but in how we learn from them." Her eyes welled with tears as she looked into the eyes of the man who had become a symbol of resilience, a beacon of hope for his people. She had just witnessed not only his leadership but his strength of character. In that fleeting moment, the shift in her soul was palpable. She felt a deep rush of humility, a wave of understanding that transcended the surface level of pride she had once carried. This wasn't just about respecting someone in power. It was about recognizing the humanity within each person. "I'm sorry," she whispered, the words heavy with genuine remorse. Ibrahim nodded once, then turned and walked away, his stride purposeful but unhurried. There was no need to say more. His presence was enough. As he walked through the terminal, the weight of his country's future seemed to lift just a little, as though the world itself had learned a small lesson about respect. Resolution and quiet closure hours passed. The incident slowly faded into the background of the busy terminal. But for those who had witnessed it, something had changed. The hostess, standing in the quiet of the back office, reflected on what had just happened. She had learned that sometimes respect could not be demanded. It could only be earned. Ibrahim Traoré had shown her the true meaning of power, not in his actions of revenge or anger, but in his ability to forgive and teach. As Ibrahim boarded his flight, he sat by the window watching the world below, a man at peace with the weight of his responsibilities. His eyes caught the first glimmer of sunset, casting a soft golden glow over the horizon. It was a moment of quiet triumph. The world was still turning, and he too was moving forward. The hostess, meanwhile, stood at the terminal window gazing out at the same horizon, now filled with understanding. The world wasn't about power. It was about people. And sometimes the most unexpected encounters could change everything. Call to action. If this story touched your heart, consider subscribing for more inspiring tales of hope, healing, and unexpected kindness. Hit the like button and share this with someone who needs it today.